Welcome to all. Welcome to all you doctors, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to read our legend guru Dr. Prafful Vijayakar's books. We have already finished with the theory of suppressions, and we are all thorough with the layers, with the various layers, and with the real suppressions. You all know the direction of suppression, and you all know the direction of cure. So once again, welcome you all to the reading club. Now we are reading the third book of Dr. Vijaykar sir. That is the end of My Assumptions of Miasm. When we dealt with the suppressions, we understood a lot of things. We understood the layers of the disease, and we knew how the disease progresses and how the cure happens. But then we have obstacles. We have stumbled at many points. Even Dr. Vijaykar sir has stumbled at many points. Our master, Dr. Hanuman, has stumbled at many points. And today we are dealing with the dilemma of Dr. Hanuman. So that is actually the dilemma of us also. All of we doctors, whenever we prescribe, we have faced a lot of obstacles. And these are the obstacles which were faced by the master himself. And we are now going to read Dr. Prafful Vijayakar's books. That is the end of My Assumptions of Miasm. That is Hanuman's Dilemma. That is page number 30. Okay, we are directly going to the reading now. That is from 1816 to 1828. He has been thinking in and out why my medicines are not working fully, or why my medicines are, why this great science is not working fully. Is the science is at fault? So during the years 1816 to 1827, I have been employed day and night with very serious problem, yes, of finding out why all the medicines known to homeopathy brings about no real cure in the diseases under discussion, and of securing, if possible, a clearer insight into the true state of those thousands of stricken ones who remain uncured in the face of unimpeachable truth of homeopathic system of healing. So this is an unimpeachable truth of homeopathic system of healing. We all know that. Likes cures likes. Similia similibus curanter. Ample examples and lot of provings and lot of medicines and lot of improvements, lot of complete cure. But there are a lot of uncompleted cure or partially cured remedies, or they come back again, or the relapse happens, or there is no complete cure, or death happens, and the reaction is totally sad. So why is this happening? Is this not a complete system of medicine? Lo, in this time, the giver of all good things offered me to solve this sublime riddle for mankind's good as a result of incessant thought, tireless investigations, accurate observation, and the most careful experiments. So Dr. Hahnemann was not intimidated by all these things. He discovered the new system of medicine, that is similia similibus curanter. He himself was an allopathic doctor, and he understood that so many of the so-called diseases are incurable. So why are these incurable? And he was not satisfied with the then systems of medicine, and he invented, or he rather discovered, this natural system, that is similia similibus, accidentally while he was translating the Materia Medica, isn't it? So, and he further proceeded the next step, that is proving of different medicines. First one was China, no? Cinchona officinalis, that Cullen's Materia Medica, when he was translating that, he accidentally proved it. And he understood that this is happening with many other substances. Why not try again and again? He started making the symptomatology, or rather the pharmacology, and he started the proper methodology of proving in healthy human beings. And he employed this method into his patients, and he started finding out the disease is coming, the disease is reducing a lot, or the health is coming up, and the patient is restored back to health. All these things he understood, and he started formatting the aphorisms, all his findings through aphorisms, and the proper approach to every disease is given through his aphorisms. Can we believe this? 200 years back, when the science was not that evolved, an MD doctor, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, found out the new system of medicine, and he is at a confusion now. There was a full stop. Why is my medicines not acting any further? He was not tired. He just understood that my observations are not enough. More accurate observation is needed. Much more careful experiments are needed. Much more incessant thought and tireless investigations are needed. These are Hahnemann's words in the first part of his last medical work, Chronic Diseases, Their Nature and Homeopathic Treatment. So these were Hahnemann's thought process. In the above paragraph, one sees the concern of Hahnemann and the worries which he faced in the year 1816 to 1817. He mentions about the homeopathic medicines not bringing about the real cure as a serious problem that he faced. And this despite the fact that he believed in the indisputable fact or the unimpeachable truth of homeopathic system of healing. He believed 100% in his system. But then where is the flaw? He observed that the treatment of many chronic diseases, even when carried out strictly in accordance with theory of homeopathic science, as hitherto practiced, was encouraging in the beginning, less favorable in the continuation, and hopeless in the end. Are we all sad at this? Yes. Are we all having the same dilemma? Are most of us even today not facing the same serious problem that Hahnemann, the founder, faced 200 years ago? Then what is the difference between us and him? In which zamana are we living? And still we are stumbling there. The glaring difference is that we, despite having a solution to the problem offered by Hahnemann, still go on practicing to relieve temporarily or suppress or let go the patient, blaming the failure on homeopathic science, that the number of drugs proved are insufficient, that the theory of miasms is not the truth for our own good, that though there are millions of plant species and millions of insect species, we have only proved a few hundred and many more lame excuses are put forth. Yeah, we never accept the defeat, right? We will put the blame on something else. Reaction of the great Hahnemann to this situation was completely different. He took it as a challenge from God, the giver, as he quotes. He knew he had to go to the depth of the serious problem because perhaps God, the giver, wanted him to suffer and solve this sublime riddle for mankind's good by incessant thoughts, tireless investigations, accurate observations, and the most careful experiments. So what is the difference between us and Hahnemann? We always want things in the most easiest way. We can't sweat ourselves. We can't rack our brain. If there is no pain, there is no gain. But then we want everything in our AC room, all in the form of tablet. We will just put it in our mouth and swallow, and we want our everything ready. And we, with the punch of a key, we want the symptom similarity to come to us. Whereas Samuel Hahnemann took it in another way because he was already an allopathic doctor, and what made him shift? He was unsatisfied with the medicines, with the methodology of treatment. So he knew that the methodology of the then allopathic system was totally not sufficient to cure a patient completely. The patient is coming back again and again with more and more serious diseases. Then he found out the homeopathic system of medicine, and when he came to a static point, a status quo point, he was not intimidated with that. He rather sat and found out, or with tireless investigations, he understood that something is missing here. This is a natural system of medicine. But if the natural system to be complete, natural system means it is divine, it is from the God. So the giver of God wants me to go to the next higher state. This happens to us day in and day out, right? Every time we have some new problem coming in our life. And what do? Okay, we will be sad for some time. We will be low and depressed for some time. But after that, we come up again with new energy, with renewed energy. The same thing happened with Hahnemann. He started thinking like, okay, something is there which I have not found out, or something is there to make this natural system more and more complete. Now, yes. In short, he worked conscientiously and diligently for the good of mankind. He understood that he only has finally brought up the similia similibus curanter. Then why not? That means the completion, the perfection of the similia similibus is also upon his head only. He is not relying on others. Let my students like James Tyler Kent or Bonninghausen or somebody, let them find out. I have found out this much. No, enough is enough. I cannot find out anything more. He did not lay it like that. Now coming to the pre-Sora days. From 1816 onwards, Hahnemann was deeply involved in the quest for the truth, which ended in 1828 with publishing of his book Chronic Diseases. So in that 7 years, he has found out, okay, what is going on here? What is that missing link? The starting point for the main idea of the book was the observation that certain chronic diseases of venereal origin and otherwise could be alleviated or relieved by homeopathic medicines, but not cured. See, what is this? Certain chronic diseases which have its origin from the venereal, that means from the sex related thing, and or otherwise also the bodily related thing also, certain, which means certain chronic diseases could be cured or could be alleviated, not cured, could be alleviated. Why could it be alleviated? If the system is wrong, then that alleviation also should not happen, no? If the system is wrong, there should be no partial cure. There should be no initial improvement if the system is wrong. So why that initial improvement is there, or it is relieved by homeopathic medicines? That means lot of improvement is there, but it is not cured. Special conditions like indiscretion in eating, drinking, or changes in weather or emotional outbursts caused the apparently cured symptoms to appear again frequently with new and stubborn symptoms. The so-called 80% relief. What happened? Now again, the symptoms have come back, status quo. The psoriasis case, when you had given Merxol, everything got cured, 80% to 90% relief in 1 month time. Okay, the physician is happy, but then the patient is coming up with something else now. Again, the psoriasis has occurred on his body full blown. What had happened? Some emotions had happened. Some I got wet, or I drank some cold water, and I got some fever, some sore throat, some pharyngitis. What did you do? I took some allopathic medicines. Or why blame allopathy every time? I took some kashayam. I took something else. What happened then? Then started coming up the rashes again. And and maybe I applied some ointment or some any small trivial reasons, the whole disease has come back again. Then what are our medicines really doing then? New remedies chosen were also of no avail. So after Merxol, what we will do? That is the highest of syphilitic remedy, no? So we give something else, okay, some Vetramal or this or that or pyrogen or such remedies or CKL or such remedies, strong, even more stronger remedies you give. Of no avail, or you retake the case and give ourselves, you attack the disease is so stubborn. First, Hahnemann and his students thought, as we also think today, that the reason for failure might be found in insufficient number of remedies proved. Okay, Hahnemann could think like that because at that time the number of remedies proven were very few, only a handful of remedies were proved then. And the prospects would improve as more and more remedies would be added to the physician's armory. This could console the students, as of course, most of us who are frantically trying to prove newer remedies to suit our convenience, but not so with Hahnemann. Hahnemann never believed so. With that 10 remedies, he should be able to cure the remedies. The master could not rest satisfied with this reason. Day and night, he was occupied with the question, why, oh, why? The carefully selected remedies did not produce cure because 80% relief is happening, no? Why that 20% is not happening is our question. It is not about the lower number of proven remedies, etc. He worked for 12 long years with incessant thoughts, tireless investigations, accurate observations, careful experiments, and also uninterrupted meditation, kind of a tapasya. In a letter to Dr. Frederick Goltef Baumgastner, Hahnemann writes in the year 1820, there will always remain some ailments uncured by homeopathy. See how sad this is, written by the master. The remains of some deep-seated chronic disease. All that has been published by me on homeopathic healing art is not sufficient for complete cure of a great family of chronic diseases. In the same letter, he further adds, in the homeopathic writings as yet published, there is still lacking the great keystone which binds together all that has been thus far published so that we may be able to improve the treatment of chronic diseases and effect a complete cure. What is this? There is a missing point, guys. There is a missing point, something I have not discovered yet. He further says, I have striven night and day for the last 4 years to discover the missing keystone to stamp out old chronic diseases. See, these old chronic diseases are so inveterate, they are so obstinate, they cannot be cured by all these remedies. So maybe some 80% improvement is obtained, but then what about the remaining 20%? That is always remaining in the background, only to show its head, only to pop up again and again with the tiniest drop of the hat. What is this then? I have missed out something here. By thousands of experiments and uninterrupted meditation, I have at last attained my object. Are you happy? Our master Hanuman has attained his object. None of my pupils as yet know anything of this invaluable discovery, the worth of which to mankind exceeds all else that I have ever discovered, and without which all existing homeopathy remains defective or imperfect. Now, what is this, dear? So what is homeopathy? Everyone knows it is a system based upon similia similibus curanter. With similia similibus curanter alone, how much cure can you, how much percentage of cure can you achieve in a chronic disease? In acute disease, you can achieve even 100% results. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, our master, is discussing about the old inveterate chronic diseases. How much percentage can you occur or can you achieve with this similia similibus curanter theory? Maybe 80%, maybe 70%, maybe 50% in cancer, yeah, in destructive diseases, in schizophrenia, in ADHD. Day in and day out, you are all treating such kind of cases, no? In CKD, in chronic kidney disease, in liver failure, in chronic cirrhosis of liver, the patient is improving. How long? How long will he will go? Maybe to 80%, maybe to 90%, and then with the drop of a hat, again all over again. The cancer, huh? 80% cured. Patient is happy, going to work. All his higher purpose of existence is satisfied with similia similibus curanter. Then why is the disease returning back? Why are these relapses happening with the slightest of the slightest ailments, or slightest of slightest some suppression or something happening? Again, the whole disease is coming back. Where have been all these diseases hidden then? And we are believing that Maya, okay, 80% improvement, and in 2 months the patient will be completely cured. No, the patient comes back full blown from the just like the beginning at the square one, he is coming back. So, similia similibus curanter alone is not enough to treat the old chronic diseases, like the autoimmune diseases, like the genetic mutations, like the insanity, like the body insanity, that is nothing but the cancer or even the psoriasis, where the body does not know, or the body is insane about the cell multiplication. The body is not even knowing how much cells are multiplied from the dermis, and that is all produced to the epidermis. It is pushed on to the epidermis, and take the epidermis, it is like the scaling happens and the skin is lost, or in exfoliative dermatitis, or in autoimmune scleroderma, or in cancers where the cells are multiplied like insane, mad. The body is mad. So mind mad or body is mad. That is all chronic, old, inveterate cases. Similia similibus alone is insufficient. This is revealed by whom? The master, Samuel Hahnemann. Now let us go to the next paragraph. Hahnemann himself acknowledged that the discovery of homeopathy and its principle was not so great. See, take it on the face. It is not so great. It is not so great discovery, since all that he had discovered about it was useless and incomplete. How many of you have heard all this terminology from the patients, huh? Or from our attackers, or from our
Madam, you are muted yourself. Madam, you are not audible.
Not audible. Voice is not audible. Hi, ma'am. Ma'am.
Audible അല്ല മാം. No.
മ്യൂട്ട് ആയോ നോക്കൂ. മ്യൂട്ട് അല്ല.
Hi everyone, wait for a few seconds.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, so some net problem was there. Okay. So now we go straight to the keystone. Okay. We were talking about the missing keystone, and that is nothing but the miasm. So relating the chronic disease to itch. See, how can we relate the chronic disease to itch? Let us go into the details. For 12 long years, he was searching for the keystone, which he thought would complete the science of homeopathy. He ultimately did achieve the goal of discovering the keystone. From frequent observations, Hahnemann had discovered that almost all, if not all, the chronic diseases which would not yield to the usual homeopathic remedies had some connection with a previous outbreak of itch. See, in predictive homeopathy, when a patient comes to us, we do the normal case taking, and what do we ask them? Okay, this is your presenting complaint. What was the disease before this? Then they say some blah blah blah. Then we ask, okay, what was the disease before that? Before that, before that, before that. What is this called? The journey of the disease. And eventually, we know that we will reach a point of skin, that is the itch. It could all have started from the old nappy rash, isn't it? So our doctor, the master also started inquiring in this way. All the chronic disease, all the cancer patients, all these chronic hypertension patients, chronic diabetic patients, this, that, all the chronic patients, our master also asked the same question. What was this before, before, before? And he had found out that they all had some connection with a previous outbreak of itch. Itch, a skin disease, which was rampant centuries back, was caused by an insect called mite. When this was treated locally to make it disappear, a train of evils or diseases more and more grave followed, like pneumonia, bronchitis, dropsy, epilepsy, hysteria, phthisis, etc. So the initial disease was, the first and foremost disease was the itch. And this itch is in which layer? It is in which layer? Yes, that is in the ectoderm. That is in the first layer. So the first layer, the itch started, and it was suppressed. Thank you, Atira. It was suppressed by what? By local some applications, some oil, this that. It was suppressed, and then comes the other diseases like pneumonia, bronchitis, dropsy, epilepsy, etc. Not very surprisingly, Hahnemann was not the only one to establish the connections between these chronic maladies and the expelled itch. 20 years before Hahnemann published his book on chronic diseases, another scientist had referred to this phenomenon. Orphan a university professor of Tübingen, was experimenting on this in his clinic in 1808. He had also noticed in his practical therapy that many chronic diseases resulted from dislodging the superficial itch. Not only Hahnemann. See how when Charles Darwin has, after 20, 30 years of walking into the forest and digging out into the ponds, and so he only found out the theory of evolution, right? With very so much of difficulty, he presented the papers. When he was ready to present the paper, another person came. Now, who was that? Wallace. Yes, that is why the theory of evolution is otherwise known as Darwin-Wallace theory. Yes, Wallace came in some 5 years' time. He has explored the whole thing, and he has brought up this theory of evolution. So, similarly, when Samuel Hahnemann has accidentally found out the similia similibus curenter, many other, like even from Hippocrates, no, many other stalwarts also have been already talking about similia similibus at that time, right? Similarly, when Samuel Hahnemann found out that itch is the root cause of all the diseases, that was also backed, or that was also even before the discovery of Hahnemann, somebody else have also thought in this line, and they have also made some researches and found out that okay, the chronic diseases emerge after the suppression of the origin, after the disappearance of the superficial itch. Only difference between him and Hahnemann was that he attributed, that means Dr. Audentricht, he was a university professor, yeah. He attributed it quite wrongly to salves. What is the salve? Salves are nothing but ointment. So some ointment was applied and the eruption disappeared. And now we are interested in the suppression of that skin disease. And after the suppression of the skin disease came up the other layer diseases, more and more chronic diseases. But here Audentricht was saying that application of salves was a mistake. Instead, he being an allopath, advocated removal of the itch by not by salve, by using silver sulfur and soft soap, which was equally not good. So his method of thinking, or his mind was thinking in the allopathic way. So he thought that the disease got suppressed, or it got bad. The person got bad after the application of the so-called ointment. So this ointment is doing the harm. That was the thought process of Dr. Audentricht. Whereas we know that okay, it is not because of the ointment or the silver sulfur or whatever, it is because of the suppression from layer to layer. As time passed by, Hahnemann was more and more convinced by his observation and experience that the most diverse diseased conditions of the human body originate from itch. Warts to tumors to curvature of bones or spine, or in short, thousands of various pathological manifestations observed in a human being and with different names afforded by modern science were in fact having their roots in few starting diseases like itch, but all could not be related to it. Okay, so that's how it is. So every disease or most of the diseases, the inveterate chronic diseases where there was scoliosis of the spine or curvatures of the bone or inveterate warts or inveterate tumors or such various pathological manifestations, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann inquired. He went back into their history, into their past history, and he found out that the starting ailment was something related with the skin, that is the itch. He classified the patients into groups. See how his scientific mind is working. Okay, he classified the patients into groups depending upon their starting point of illness. He traced back the journey of diseases. We all do that, no? JOD, journey of diseases, to the first symptom ever suffered or noticed by the patient. What was the first symptom? It was obvious that by now Hahnemann was aware that diseases began on the skin and proceeded inwards. Did you hear this anywhere? Did you hear this sentence anywhere? Diseases began on the skin and it proceeded inwards. That is nothing but the ectoderm and then coming into the endoderm, mesoderm, etc. No, this is exactly what we learned in the theory of suppression book. The beginning point or the start symptoms were traced back right up to the skin. That is the least important organ. Again, did we hear this again, anywhere? The least important organ is the skin. Here I refer the reader to my book, Predictive Homeopathy, Theory of Suppression. Yes, you are all there with me, right? After being convinced that all chronic ailments expressed by the patient had their roots in a deeper lying original evil, he concluded that original evil sought must be of a miasmatic chronic nature, as was perfectly evident that once it had developed, it could not be eradicated even by vigorous or robust constitution. What is this? So whatever chronic ailment, the so-called incurable chronic ailment, when we looked into the journey of disease, we found out that there has been some kind of an adamant itch or some kind of an adamant skin reaction, and that one he termed as a miasmatic, something of a miasmatic chronic nature. We are coming to that. And this miasmatic chronic nature, as long as this miasm is there in his body, he cannot be cured. That in simple sentence, that is the meaning of the sentence. As long as this miasm is not addressed, as long as this miasmatic chronic nature is there in the background, he cannot be called completely cured. It cannot be eradicated even by vigorous or robust constitution. Are you all with me? Yes? Neither could it be overcome by the healthiest diet nor healthy order of life. Even if you change your lifestyle, do yoga, this thing, that thing, or the carbohydrate, protein, fat diet, all the balanced diet, nothing helps. Will that cure cancer? You all will say, no, leave the WhatsApp University will advise you to take turmeric powder or lime squeezed, this, that, chia seed, flax seed, all these things, and then do yoga, wake up in the morning by 4 a.m., run a mile. You do all these things, no? Take a dip in holy Ganges. You do everything. What happens? Will the disease go? Will the cancer get treated? As long as the miasm is there, as long as the miasm is there, this cannot be cured. That is what our master has written. In fact, it grew worse by addition of more serious symptoms right up to the end of life. Now, what is this miasm? The word miasm now cropped up. Miasm means taint or pollution. Thus, Hahnemann saw that there were various taints on a constitution. There were various taints on a constitution. Certain constitutions were tainted or polluted in such a manner that they gave rise to only certain trains of diseases. If the miasm is ABC, the trains of symptoms that is following are of ABC. And if this is like family of species, this is like that. A cat cannot give birth to a dog in that family. Or the rats, the mongoose, the squirrels, they all belong to the same family, the rodent family. Yes. So it cannot give a human being there, or a human being cannot give a bird aviary there. Not possible. It is just like that. Certain kind of miasms will produce certain kind of chronic diseases. Another XYZ kind of miasm will give you XYZ kind of chronic diseases. So this was found out by Hahnemann at that time. certain constitutions were tainted or polluted in such a manner that they give rise to only certain traits of diseases. And this was despite healthy life and robust constitution. How many types of taints could there be? Yeah, the next question. This was a question looming large in front of Hahnemann. How many taints will be there? A, B, C, X, Y, Z, P, Q, R, S. How many taints? At this juncture, Hahnemann ruled the fact that science was not advanced enough in 1828 to allow him to give proper explanation for his findings. He was regretted. Oh, I have found out this much. I have found out this much. I know that the missing keystone is the miasm, but how many miasms are there? How can I explain this? At that time, there was no help of all this electron microscope, etc. He wrote in the preface to the fourth volume, we have no means of reaching with our senses or of gaining essential knowledge as to the processes of life in the interior of man. What is happening inside man? We are not able to identify that. And it is only at times granted us to draw speculative conclusions. In the first half of the 19th century, of course, there was no electron microscope, no advances in the field of pathology, immunology, human biochemistry, leave aside molecular biology and genetics. He had to work to find the root of chronic diseases only empirically, experimentally, and logically. So this is where homeopathy always combines with the science, with the art, and always that philosophical touch comes in, because at that time fully it was the world was not fully scientific, or all these scientific the substances were not there. The electron microscope was not there, or the knowledge of all this pathology, immunology was not there. The knowledge of microbes were not there. The knowledge of bacteria, viruses were not there. The knowledge of genes is not there. The knowledge of stem cells were not there. Then how will Hahnemann scientifically prove that? So Hahnemann always did empirically, experimentally, and logically. So this is where the philosophical touch always comes. Experimentally and analytically, he was able to state that the incurable chronic maladies owed its origin to only three basic start points, somewhere on the skin. So what are these three basic start points? We know the start point is the skin. Yeah. Now we are coming into the miasms. We know the start point is the skin. In the skin, three basic starts. One section is the itch. The second section is the venereal warts. The third section is the venereal chancre. See, the three things are there. The origin of all these chronic maladies can be put forth on three foundation stones. First one is the itch. The second foundation stone is the venereal wart, and the third foundation stone is the chancre. So, according to our constitution, after any A, B, C, three personalities, okay, three persons, all these three are put into some kind of a situation, a bad situation, okay, they are living some rampant life, some bad life they are living. The A will contract itch, only itch, not the warts or not the chancre. B has warts, venereal warts, and C contracts chancre. They will not contract itch, etc. So this was the finding of Samuel Hahnemann. When we dig back into the case history of the patient, we reach a kind of a last point. After that, there is no history. Okay, the history begins from warts, or the history begins from chancre. After suppression of the warts, or after removal of the warts, all these diseases came up. That will be the story of one person. Or after suppression of the chancre, all these diseases came up. Or after suppression of itch, all these diseases came up. Hahnemann says in chronic diseases, analytically and logically, I have concluded that all the chronic ailments owing their origin to a certain skin disease or expression had their fundamental origin firmly established as chronic miasms. So these are the chronic miasms. Now, which are the chronic miasms? Type it out, please. Which are the chronic miasms advised by our master? Which are the chronic miasms, and how many miasms can there be? There can be 10 miasms. There can be 12 miasms. How many miasms are there? Just type it out, guys. Sora, psychosis, syphilis, Brahmavidya, 3 miasms. Yes. Arya Devi. Yes. Adira. Yes. So there are only Three miasms, only and only three miasms. Why? Why? Why certain people are saying it as tubercular miasm or what to say, cancerous miasm or typhoid miasm or malarial miasm? Why, oh, why are they saying like, why are people saying like this? When our master says that all the chronic maladies have their origin on only on three foundation stones. That is either the itch or the venereal warts or the venereal chancre. That is, it is the psora, psychosis, and syphilis. We are coming to that now. So, all the origin of the disease has to be from the outermost layer only. What is malarial miasm? Where is malaria acting? Is malaria originating from the skin? What is typhoid? Is it originating from the skin? What is cancer? Is it originating from the skin? It can originate from anywhere, from any cell. Yes. So it has to originate from the skin. And from the skin, it takes three different directions. The formation upon the skin takes three different directions. One is kind of a psoric eruption, that is the itch. The other one is the warts. The other one is the chancre, that is the ulcer, according to the type of the constitution of the patient. So there is only three. There can be only three miasms. This means their parasitical existence in human organism goes on continually strengthening and increasing irrespective of healthy lifestyle, diet, or robust constitution. Once this itch has settled in, or once the wart, or once the chancre has settled in, after contracting that chancre, if you change to a holy spirit or to a holy angel, or you are going to live the life of an angel, that chancre will not leave your body. You are already tainted, you are already polluted. They will never pass away by themselves, but will grow and vitiate themselves until death supervenes. The best example is that of an AIDS patient. Yeah, it goes on and on and on and on. They would have had this bad cohesion once, and they will say that, no, doctor, I'm a good person. I don't go behind women. I'm not a homosexual. I'm a good guy. I did it only once. It was an unprotected sex. And I got this hepatitis B or AIDS. And from now onwards, I am living a very healthy life. I knew that it is bad. I am living a very healthy life. My thoughts are good and I regret for what I have done. But is there any escape? Is there any escape? That is, they will always end in destruction of the organism. Once polluted, once tainted, it is tainted lifelong. Until that miasm is cured, there is no return back. It is kind of valley of no return. All these benign looking skin ailments of itch, warts, or chancre have a deep seated origin, which are finally the cause of destruction of man. Yes, how beautifully our master has written it. Finally, probing the patients and their illnesses and their prior illnesses, he concluded that there are three local visible diseases which can be the mothers of three groups or classes of chronic diseases occurring later in life. His experiments showed three groups as follows. Group of diseases which followed initial symptom on skin, that is itch. So, itch is the mother miasm there and followed by so many chronic ailments. Then the second one is group of diseases which followed the treatment of symptom on skin, that is venereal warts. The original point is the venereal warts and followed by several other chronic ailments. The third one is group of diseases which followed initial symptoms on the skin, that is chancre. The initial symptom on the skin was an ulcer, was a chancre, followed by many other, a set of, a class of chronic ailments. After having determined the root cause of chronic diseases and after naming them as taints, pollution, or miasms, the next question was the name of the miasm. This we shall go through in our next classes. So now it is 10:44, 10:45. So now, is there any doubts? How many miasms are there? What are the miasms? And how did our master reach the miasm? Yes, he was not able to treat certain diseases or not able to treat fully. So he found out the missing keystone. he found out that all these diseases, when he looked into the journey of the disease, there was a beginning. And that beginning was always on the skin, not in the blood like malaria or not by mosquito, not by all those things. It happened upon the skin. The original point was on the skin. On the skin itself, there are three categories. The first category is itch, followed by a certain class of diseases. The next is the venereal warts and the next class of diseases which followed. And the third one is the chancre and the next class of the diseases that followed. Are you all with me? Oh, this much is clear about the miasms? Yes? Yes, no? Any discussions? Any quick doubts? Yes? Yes? Okay, so this much, I'm happy that all of you have understood. So when we are reading Dr. Vijay sir's book, yeah, somebody is saying something, I could not read it fully. After completing BHMS, even we can't understand master's great work. He started from zero. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm so grateful that we could read this book. So because of this book, now has our guru is, because our guru knows that while reading Dr. Samuel Hahnemann's book, nobody will understand anything. It is so tough reading and understanding, and even one paragraph, no, this one paragraph contains the entire knowledge of Hahnemann. Our knowledge is not that much. That's the reason why we are not able to imagine what Samuel Hahnemann is imagining when he is writing the first aphorism. Yes, when he is writing the first aphorism, it is the sum total of all the 297 aphorisms in the first aphorism itself. The physician's mission is to restore the sick to health, means the entire methodology of cure is there in that one, in the first aphorism. So it is so pregnant with meaning, which we cannot decipher. So this is the reason why stalwarts like Dr.Prafful sir has taken out all these things, and he had put his brains and he understood Hahnemann. He split it out all into smaller sentences and he made such kind of books. And now we are so grateful that we are able to read all these things and to understand the miasms better, understand the knowledge given by our master better and better, isn't it? There we are now. So many miasms in other systems. Yeah, let us not quarrel about other systems. Let us follow Hahnemann's theory, doctor. Yeah, because everyone has got their, that is the reason that standardization is not there in homeopathy. They have their own, everybody have got the different schools of thoughts are there. We are not against any schools of thoughts, but then we are following what our master has said so that it will be untainted and unpolluted. Yeah, what master has given, that one only we have to follow now. Always that clear blooded thing. Yeah, the right homeopathy. Now,